John Stones scored a dramatic 98th-minute equalizer as Manchester City denied 10-player Arsenal a statement win in a gripping 2-2 draw at the Etihad on Super Sunday. Pep Guardiola's side were on the cusp of a first home Premier League defeat since November 2022 until Stones squeezed the ball past David Raya with City's 28th and final attempt of an extraordinary second half. When Rodri went down in a heap inside the first 10 seconds of the match, the 2-minute stoppage that followed threatened to kill the game's momentum before it had even started. Fortunately, the opposite turned out to be true. Ilkay Gundogan, starting in place of the injured Kevin De Bruyne, fired a warning when he volleyed wide after being located by Bernardo Silva, but Arsenal did not listen. Player ratings: Man City, Ederson 6, Gvardiol 6, Akanji 7, Diaz 7, Walker 6, Gundogan 7, Rodri 6, Silva, Doku 6, Haaland 7, Savinho 7, Subs, Stones 7, Grealish 6, Foden 6. Arsenal, Raya, Calafiori 7, Gabriel, Saliba 7, Timber 7, Martinelli 7, Rice 6, Partey 6, Saka, Trossard 4, Havertz 6. Subs, White 6, Kiwior 6, Jesus, Lewis Skelly. Player of the match, Jurrien Timber. Savinho skipped inside off the right and released Haaland, who raced clear through on goal and prodded past Raya in the 9th minute. It was the first time Arsenal had fallen behind in the Premier League since New Year's Eve, and, more significantly, the Norwegians' 100th goal in just 105 appearances for City. Shortly afterwards, Gundogan whipped in a free kick which hit the outside of the post, and Rodri had limped off after an awkward landing. Arsenal leveled with their first shot in the 22nd minute. Gabriel Martinelli pulled the ball back to Riccardo Calafiori after a quickly taken free kick, which City complained was taken away from where it was awarded, and the Italian curled a glorious effort into the top right corner. Chance and after chance after chance came and went, with the Gunners surviving each time. That was until the very final seconds, when Mateo Kovacic's shot rebounded for Stones to plunder the equalizer and spark furious clashes between the two sets of players. Liverpool take on Bournemouth, hoping to build some momentum in the Premier League following a shock defeat to Nottingham Forest in their previous league game. During the week, Arne Slot took charge of this first European match as Liverpool manager and defeated AC Milan at the San Siro in a confidence-building comeback victory. The Reds will now be hoping to take that form into today's encounter with the Cherries and move themselves up the Premier League table. For their part, Bournemouth have been playing well. 5 points from their opening 4 games puts them 11th in the table, just behind Manchester United. Although they lost 1-0 to Chelsea in their last match, they performed strongly, and Andoni Iraola will be hoping for something similar at Anfield. Dominic Solanke got off the mark for Tottenham as Ange Postecoglou's side defeated Brentford 3-1 in a frantic encounter at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The visitors were ahead inside 22 seconds for a second week running as Brian Bumo lashed Keane Lewis Potter's cross into the top right corner. But the remainder of a frenzied first half belonged to Spurs. 7 minutes after Mbumo's brilliant opener, the hosts were level thanks to Solanke, answering his critics with an instinctive finish after James Maddison's initial shot had been generously palmed into his path. Seizing momentum, Spurs then took the lead in the 28th minute when Brennan Johnson was released by Heung-min Son, and he rifled a perfectly precise strike across Mark Flecken, who continues to be the busiest goalkeeper of any in the Premier League. Solanke presented tireless Son with a chance for Spurs' third, while Johnson and Dejan Kulusevski were also denied, before Mbumo had a rare opportunity to snatch a leveler at the opposite end, stopped in his tracks by Guglielmo Vicario, who moments before looked to have handled the ball outside his box. Brentford were rightly furious in the 58th minute when Vicario appeared to clumsily handle outside his area after he tried but failed to claim a cross ahead of Mikkel Damsgaard. The whole episode was bizarrely missed by on-field official John Brooks, prompting angry responses from Christopher Adger and Thomas Frank, who were both booked for dissent. The outcome by the letter of the law, should have been a free kick and yellow card for Vicario, but Frank was clear the incident didn't define the game. Speaking in his press conference, he said he handballed it, but that incident didn't define the game. The margins need to go our way. It was a mistake. It could have helped us, but the probability for scoring from that is low. John Brooks, overall, had a very good game. Super sub John Duran starred again as another Aston Villa late show saw 3 goals in the final 13 minutes, beat struggling Wolves 3-1. Duran added a 4th goal in 5 sub-appearances for the hosts, in added time to put the gloss on a game which had appeared beyond Villa for more than an hour, as Gary O'Neill's beleaguered Wolves side frustrated them for long periods. The home side had to come from 2 goals down last week to beat Everton, and did it the hard way again, leveling after 73 minutes through Ollie Watkins' deflected equalizer. Ezri Konsa finally put them ahead 2 minutes from the end of regulation time, before Duran toe-poked home Morgan Rogers' square pass as Wolves pushed forward for an equalizer. Wolves may feel they deserved more than they got after restricting Villa to a number of half chances before Watkins' goal, and were well worth the first half lead, delivered by Matheus Cunha's fine strike when he was gifted the ball by Diego Carlos. They rarely looked like adding to that lead, but looked equally comfortable holding on to it until the addition of Duran on the hour mark, with their 4th defeat in 5, leaving them rock bottom of the Premier League table. The Cottagers doubled their advantage after 22 minutes as Alex Iwobi and Emile Smith-Rowe continued their excellent understanding from their time together at Arsenal, as the duo exchanged passes down the left, before the England international surprised Nick Pope with a first-time shot that the Newcastle no-one somehow let squirm through his grasp. Fulham's new club record signing, Smith-Rowe, shone again in the first period, and was unlucky not to have already scored when his rasping drive beat Pope, but not the bar, although the hosts did not get the 3rd goal their pressure merited, allowing Newcastle back into the contest at the start of the second half. Opta stats. Fulham on fire. Fulham have gained their first win against Newcastle in the Premier League since March 2014, having failed to defeat the Magpies in any of their last 8 in the competition, D2L6. In fact, right from the restart, Jacob Murphy, on as one of 2 halftime substitutions as Eddie Howe rung the changes, found Harvey Barnes in space on the edge of the area with the forward, who changed last Sunday's game at Wolves when he came on, finding the far corner with a low shot. Fulham really should have ended the game on the counter, as Newcastle went all out in search of an equalizer, with Pope pulling off one extraordinary close-range reaction stop to deny Iwobi before substitute Reiss Nelson did add a late 3rd after another mistake, this time from skipper Bruno Guimaraes. Fulham's Raul Jimenez has scored 8 goals in his last 9 Premier League starts, netting in consecutive league games for the first time since December 2023. Fulham's Adama Traore has been directly involved in 5 goals, 2 goals, 3 assists, in his last 6 Premier League games, almost twice as many as he managed in his first 16 matches for the Cottagers in the competition, 3. Juventus and Napoli played to a goalless draw in Serie A this afternoon. Napoli arrived in Turin seeking a win, but Juve quickly showed them it would be a tough battle. Juventus gained control of the game early, with players like Koopmeiners and Kenan Yildiz causing problems for Napoli with their movement. Scott McTominay posed a threat with his runs through midfield, but Juve's defense stood firm, with Gleison Bremer handling Romelu Lukaku's presence effectively. Juventus had opportunities to take the lead in the first half, with Koopmeiners delivering some fine passes from the left. However, None of the Juve attackers managed to convert those chances inside the Napoli box. After a competitive first half, the teams went into the break still deadlocked. During halftime, Thiago Motta made a surprising substitution, replacing Dusan Vlahovic with Timothy Weah. Both sides continued to neutralize each other in the second half, with Yildiz and Koopmeiners standing out as they tried to push Juventus towards finding a winner. Despite further chances created by Andrea Cambiaso, Yildiz, and Koopmeiners, the elusive goal never came. Juventus has now gone 3 straight Serie A games without a win and will be eager to secure a victory soon. Juventus were held to a goalless draw by Napoli in Serie A on Saturday, their 3rd consecutive such score on the domestic front. Juventus had more possession throughout the game, but Napoli came closer to snatching a winner, and Juve goalkeeper Michele Di Gregorio saved Scott McTominay's attempt from outside the box in the first half, before Romelu Lukaku failed to follow up. Di Gregorio then leaped to deny winger Matteo Politano from a free kick in first-half stoppage time, diverting the shot with the tips of his fingers. Napoli are 3rd in the standings on 10 points from 5 games, while Juventus are 4th with 9. Brighton and Nottingham Forest played out a fiery 2-2 draw in which Morgan Gibbs-White, Nuno Espirito Santo, and Fabian Herzler were all sent off. The key incident happened with 7 minutes remaining, with the scores level as Gibbs-White, already on a booking, jumped in with a scissor-like challenge on João Pedro that eventually led to a second yellow, despite referee Rob Jones initially deeming that Gibbs-White had played the ball. Brighton could not put Forest away, though, and substitute Ramon Sosa tapped in for the equalizer after Jota Silva had evaded the Seagulls' offside trap. It was his first goal for the club since his summer move from Argentine club Talleres. The game had ebbed and flowed before that, with Forest taking an early lead from the penalty spot through Chris Wood after Callum Hudson-Odoi had been fouled. Brighton were flat in the first 45 minutes, but somehow found themselves in front at the break after Jack Hinshelwood headed home before Danny Welbeck curled in a sumptuous free kick. The first successful one of the Premier League season, Nuno's red card was unjust. Nottingham Forest assistant Rui Pedro Silva told Sky Sports, "I'm not able to judge at the moment. The referee had a good view. Anthony Taylor was close to the situation. In this moment, it was a very good game." He added in his press conference, "It was a fair and good tackle, not justifying a second yellow card. I think the referees took their time. It's not bad if they take their time. Anthony had a point of view. I didn't hear nothing from the mouth of Nuno that justified a red card. We were upset with the tackle." Brighton coach Andrew Crofts told Sky Sports, "The tackle on João Pedro looked like it wasn't a great tackle. We were upset with it. The reaction is to see what the referee does. After that, I didn't see it too much because I was communicating with a player. The next thing I saw was the red cards to the managers, and obviously the player. João took a nasty hit. Hopefully he's okay. We are bitterly disappointed not to get 3 points. At the same time, you have to finish the game well and get over the line. We created enough chances to definitely win the game. They had very little. That's maybe why we're frustrated, and maybe tempers were frayed because of that. Hopefully we can learn a lot from the last 2 games at home, but we're still unbeaten, so there's a lot to be positive about." Goals from free kicks are a rare breed these days in the Premier League. Long gone are the days of David Beckham racking up multiple goals a season from a dead ball situation. There were only 11 free kicks scored in the entirety of last season. There were 27 in the 2014-15 season. But we have our first of this Premier League campaign, courtesy of an unlikely source in Welbeck. It was not exactly a Premier League classic, despite at first glance it looking quite aesthetically pleasing. The blame was firmly at Matzell's door. Hansi Flick made a surprising number of changes to his starting XI after the short turnaround from the match against Monaco, and his rotated side suffered to begin the game as Villarreal dominated the opening 10 minutes. The home team made a very fast start, pressing high up the pitch and looking to make runs in behind Barca's high line to create chances. They almost took the lead through Yeremy Pino 8 minutes in, but the goal was disallowed for offside. After a difficult beginning, Barca finally had some of the ball and began asserting their control, with Pablo Torre and Pedri finding spaces in midfield and Lamine Yamal being his usual dangerous self on the right wing. The Blaugrana created 3 huge chances in a span of 40 seconds with a Yamal shot against the post, a Rafinha effort that was blocked at the goal line, and a Pedri shot that went agonizingly wide. And shortly after that flurry, they found the lead. Pablo Torre played an amazing through ball to find the run of Robert Lewandowski, and the striker flicked the ball past the keeper to put Barca in front. First half. Hansi Flick made a surprising number of changes to his starting side after the short turnaround from the match against Monaco, and his rotated side suffered to begin the game as Villarreal dominated the opening 10 minutes. The home team made a very fast start, pressing high up the pitch and looking to make runs in behind Barca's high line to create chances. They almost took the lead through Yeremy Pino 8 minutes in, but the goal was disallowed for offside. After a difficult beginning, Barca finally had some of the ball and began asserting their control, with Pablo Torre and Pedri finding spaces in midfield, and Lamine Yamal being his usual dangerous self on the right wing. The Blaugrana created 3 huge chances in a span of 40 seconds with a Yamal shot against the post, a Rafinha effort that was blocked at the goal line, and a Pedri shot that went agonizingly wide. And shortly after that flurry, they found the lead. Pablo Torre played an amazing through ball to find the run of Robert Lewandowski, and the striker flicked the ball past the keeper to put Barca in front. The away side was full of confidence after taking the lead, controlling the ball very well and creating real danger with their passing and movement in the final third. And a second goal came to stamp their authority. A cross from Yamal found Eric Garcia at the far post, and after his header was saved, Lewandowski scored a mini bicycle kick to double his own tally as well as Barca's advantage. Villarreal responded immediately, however, with a tap-in by Jose Perez after the home team finally managed to beat the offside trap. The game became even more end-to-end after the hosts found the net, and the final minutes of the half were wild as both teams looked for another goal. Stefano Pioli made a winning start to life at Al Nassr, running out 3-0 winners over Al Ettifaq in the Saudi Pro League on Friday. Stefano Pioli won his first game in charge of Al Nassr with a comfortable 3-0 victory over Al Ettifaq on Friday. Cristiano Ronaldo netted the first goal of Pioli's reign as Al Nassr picked up just their second win in the Saudi Pro League this season. It was a fairly even first half until Abdullah Madu fouled Sultan Al Ghanem in the box, and Ronaldo made no mistake from 12 yards to put the visitors in front. Angelo and Talisca were both denied by the goalkeeper before halftime, but Al Nassr doubled their lead with the first shot of the second half as Salem Al Najdi scored a delightful chip from a tight angle in the 56th minute. Talisca did get his goal in the 70th minute, beating Marek Rodak for power with his low drive after being picked out by Sadio Mane. Ronaldo almost got a second late on, but with just 1 minute remaining, he struck the woodwork with a long-range strike. Al Ettifaq were unbeaten coming into this game, but they offered little in terms of fight, mustering just 6 shots, 2 of which were on target, and created just 0.44 expected goals. Al Nassr, on the other hand, tested Rodak with half of their 14 shots on target, 1.83 by G. Talisca had the most, 5, and was rewarded for it with his late goal. It was Mane who pulled the strings, though, creating 4 chances and claiming 2 assists, while his 18 passes into the final third were the most of anyone on the pitch. Carlo Ancelotti's Real Madrid side fell behind on Saturday evening when Thibaut Courtois was unfortunate to turn a cross into his own net. Dani Carvajal came to Real Madrid's rescue with a leveler, which set the Blancos on the way to 3 points. Vinicius Jr. created 1 goal for Rodrigo and grabbed another of his own after climbing off the bench. Kylian Mbappe netted a late penalty. The home crowd were silenced when Thibaut Courtois scored an own goal just minutes into the second half, after Jofer Carreras pulled the ball back across goal, and it hit the keeper's left leg and went into the net. Carlo Ancelotti's side did not wait long to respond, with Carvajal firing into an empty net just 3 minutes later, following some great work from Jude Bellingham. Los Blancos blew Espanyol away after that, with Vinicius crossing the ball for Rodrigo to fire home and put Real Madrid ahead. Vinicius then scored, converting brilliantly past Joan Garcia from a scintillating breakaway. Endrick was then brought down just inside the box in injury time, and Mbappe made no mistake from the spot, scoring his second goal in as many games. The result sees Real Madrid move up to second in the Liga table, before Atletico Madrid play on Sunday. Espanyol sit in 13th place in the table. Real Madrid will face Alaves at home in midweek before they travel to rivals Atletico Madrid next weekend. Espanyol host Villarreal on Thursday. Talking point, Vinicius impact. The match completely turned when Vinicius was brought off the bench to replace Arda Güler when the game was in the balance at 1-1. Ancelotti rested the influential Brazilian, which seemed to only stoke the winger's fire. Vinicius was electric when he came on, producing a brilliant cross for Rodrigo to put Real Madrid ahead before he showed his finishing off with a cool effort past Joan Garcia. Los Blancos lacked that extra bit of pace and firepower during the first half, despite having stars on the pitch, and Vinicius provided that as soon as he entered proceedings. The winger has been criticized for his international performances recently, but there was no doubting the Brazil star against Espanyol. Player of the match, Vinicius Jr., Real Madrid. The Brazilian now has 3 goals and 4 assists in 6 La Liga matches this season and has continued to be Los Blancos' star despite Mbappe's arrival. Despite only playing the second half, Vinicius decided the match and was unplayable. Real Madrid completed a stunning second-half comeback to continue their unbeaten start to the La Liga season and move within a point of leaders Barcelona. Espanyol stunned the current champions when they took the lead early in the second half through a Thibaut Courtois' own goal. However, Dani Carvajal equalized just minutes later, before Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo put Los Blancos out of sight. Kylian Mbappe scored from the spot in injury time to complete the scintillating comeback. Wolves were once again on the wrong end of a second-half fight-back, this time at Villa Park, as Aston Villa ensured the Old Gold's wait for a Premier League win this season goes on. Matheus Cunha's brilliant first-half finish, in off the inside of the post from range, made it advantage Wolves until 73 minutes when Ollie Watkins' strike deflected off the luckless Craig Dawson to restore parity. The momentum swing did the damage for Gary O'Neill's side, who, moments after Yerson Mosquera was stretched off, went behind to Ezri Konsa's close-range finish. The home win was then rounded off in injury time when John Duran tapped home to ensure Wolves remain winless in the 2024-25 Premier League. In terms of opening 45s, O'Neill couldn't have asked for much more. Wolves felt their way into the game, controlling Villa and looking to spring into action on the counter, which led to 2 cornera which Mario Lemina connected with. But his audacious flick, followed by towering header, were both directly too close to Emiliano Martinez in the Villa goal. Wolves found scoring from outside of the box so difficult last season, but not this. When Diego Carlos played a loose ball into the middle of the park, it triggered Cunha, who nipped in, glided past Amadou Onana, and crashed a stunning low effort in off the inside of the post from the edge of the box in front of the Holte end. O'Neill's side had been impressive before the goal, but even better after it, and may have been a little frustrated not to add to that goal. After Jan Rickner Bellegarde resurrected Lemina's deep cross, Ryan Ait-Nouri connected well, but saw his deflected shot roll the wrong side of the post. Jorgen Strand Larsen was next to threaten when he latched on to Mosquera's clever ball around the corner, but he delayed his shot and fired too close to Martinez, while both Craig Dawson and Ait-Nouri had attempts late in the half blocked before Martinez was required. Halftime, Aston Villa 0-1 Wolves. As you'd expect, during the second half, Aston Villa were the dominant force, and Wolves set about protecting their lead, which they did for a long spell, with Mosquera hacking a Watkins header off the line, making sure Wolves were still ahead going into the final 20. However, the England striker eventually found the equalizer when a ricochet off Lamina had Wolves in trouble, allowing Rodgers to slip in Watkins, whose effort took a hefty deflection off Dawson, which took the ball over Johnston. The Old Gold then lost Yerson Mosquera to a serious-looking injury, and minutes after the Colombian had been stretchered off, Leon Bailey's deep cross was turned between Johnstone's legs at the back post by Konsa. Wolves did their best to pick themselves up to go again, but it was Villa's momentum which helped them kill the game off late in the day, as Ian Matson sent Rodgers in down the left, and he squared for Duran to tap into an open goal to complete Villa's turnaround and leave Wolves winless once more. FC Bayern beat Werder Bremen 5-0 on Saturday to consolidate their lead in the Bundesliga. Michael Olise and Jamal Musiala handed Bayern a 2-goal lead in the first half. Harry Kane added a third before the hour, with Olise and Serge Gnabry rounding off the final scoreline. Munich lined up with Sven Ulreich in goal after Manuel Neuer pulled out of the warm-up, and Konrad Laimer, Dayo Upamecano, Min-jae Kim, and Alphonso Davies in defense. Joshua Kimmich and Aleksandar Pavlovic anchored a midfield featuring Olise, Musiala, and Kingsley Coman, with Kane up front. Rafael Guerreiro, Gnabry, João Palhinha, Leroy Sané, and Thomas Müller came Laimer, Coman, Pavlovic, Olise, and Kane in the second half. Goal and assist for Olise. Bayern were in the driving seat throughout and came close to an opener when Laimer hit the bar from distance. Kane's free kick went over and Musiala miscued an effort. Kane had a shot blocked, but Bayern took the lead when they won the ball near the box, Kane setting up Olise, who slotted home. The score shone again when he slalomed his way past a number of defenders and invited Musiala to tap in the day's second. Kane fired just wide and saw another shot blocked as the sides went into the break, with Bayern 2 goals up. More of the same. The hosts were livelier after the restart and a couple of substitutions, but Kane soon put the game to bed when he slipped in Olise, who laid back for the striker to knock home his 41st Bundesliga goal, a new record for an Englishman. Olise soon found the top corner of the net from 15 yards to round off his brace. Gnabry added his name to the scoresheet when he cut inside from the left to fire into the far corner. Bremen keeper Michael Zetterer made 2 strong saves to deny Kane. Musiala saw an effort saved, and Kimmich hit the bar as Bayern marked the start of the Oktoberfest in style. The result means Bayern have 12 points from 4 matches. The German record champions will be back in action next Saturday when they entertain Bayer Leverkusen in a mouth-watering heavyweight clash. Crystal Palace, inspired by an outstanding performance from goalkeeper Dean Henderson, showed impressive resilience to claim a 0-0 draw with Manchester United at Selhurst Park. Summary: 1 change from midweek win at QPR as Wharton returns to midfield. 10. Henderson makes full stretch save to deny Garnacho 1-on-1. 14. Goalkeeper produces quick-fire stops to deny De Ligt and Martinez. 27. Garnacho and Fernandez both hit the bar for visitors in quick succession. 33. Xerxes heads wide from another United corner as visitors dominate first half. 42. Henderson turns Xerxes' sliding flick-on round the post. 44. Palace finish half strongly as Ez finish kept out by Onana. HT, Palace 0-0, Manchester United. Palace make 2 halftime changes as Lerma and Sarr enter the fray. Sarr backheels ball through for Ez, whose effort is blocked away by De Ligt. 52. Fernandez bends narrowly wide for United from the edge of the box. 63. Henderson produces another superb save to keep out Garnacho curler. 65. Onana then makes stunning double save to deny Nketiah and Sarr. 72. Eza sweeps wide of the bottom corner when well found by Sarr. 90+1. Schlupp comes on and almost tees up late Sarr winner. FT, Palace 0-0, Manchester United. The Eagles took to the field, seeking a first Premier League win of the season, buoyed by recent success in the Carabao Cup, but up against a Manchester United side who themselves had blown hot and cold in the opening weeks of the season. After scoring 3 against Southampton and 7 versus Barnsley in the last week, however, it must be said that almost all the first-half chances went United's way. with goalkeeper Dean Henderson produced a stunning performance against his former side. After a tentative opening period, United's first opportunity arrived inside 10 minutes. Joshua Zirkzee held the ball up well and slid through Alejandro Garnacho, but the Argentinian's left-footed strike across goal was turned away full stretch by Henderson. Palace were indebted to their goalkeeper twice in quick succession moments later, as he kept out Matthijs de Ligt's downward header and Lisandro Martinez's scuffed effort goalwards, both with his legs. It was turning into an inspired display by Henderson, although he was beaten twice in the space of moments as Garnacho, played through once again, hit the angle of post and bar with a curling shot. The rebound bounced out to Bruno Fernandes, who side-footed goalwards, and remarkably, against the top of the bar again. The chances kept coming for United, with Zirkzee nodding wide at the back post from a header, and then being denied by Henderson once more, as he slid in to meet Fernandes' inviting delivery across goal. But Palace retained parity, and in the very final 2 minutes of the half, they gave the Selhurst Park support plenty of encouragement as Eddie Nketiah played Tyrick Mitchell into space inside the box. Chelsea punished a dire defensive display from West Ham as Nicholas Jackson's first-half double helped Enzo Maresca's side secure an easy 3-0 win at the London Stadium. Jackson opened the scoring early on when West Ham defending, described as criminal by Michael Dawson on Soccer Saturday, allowed him to beat Alphonse Areola on the angle, having exchanged passes with Jadon Sancho and carried the ball forward unopposed. Julen Lopetegui's side completely switched off again soon afterwards, leaving Moises Caicedo free to send Jackson cantering through on goal for a coolly taken second. But any hopes of a recovery were dashed straight after halftime when Chelsea carved through West Ham yet again, with Jackson this time turning provider to set up Cole Palmer for an emphatic finish following a rapid counterattack. Advertisement: Lopetegui. Fans have a right to boo West Ham boss Julen Lopetegui. Very, very frustrated today, for sure. We had big expectation for the match. We worked a lot to prepare for it. I have to review it again, but it has been a very soft way to lose. We suffered 2 early goals where we have to do better. We had chances and more of the ball, but goals are more important. We were not consistent. In the Premier League, if you want to compete, you have to be consistent. On the boos of the home fans, it's normal when you lose. They have the right to complain. We know this. That's why we are the only solution to change this. We have to do better, all of us, but first of all, me. We have to improve, but it's the start of the season. We have a lot of time to do this. Player Chelsea forward Nicholas Jackson to TNT Sports. I am growing higher with my teammates. They help me a lot, and they have confidence in me. We keep going. This one is finished, and next week we go on to another one. The most important thing is for the team to win. I am happy to play always. To fight for the team, and the team to win is the most important thing.